Things that can really change somebody's life, like talking about habits, or let's say in particular the things you do on a daily basis, from when you wake up, when you go brush your teeth, or maybe take a shower and rest and do whatever you do for the day, working or doing it, staying at home or going to school. So in that case, it means these are the things that really like matter to, like, for us to feel happy about who we are, or maybe try to really know what we want to do in our life, or maybe even achieve what you want to do in our life. In short, that's just like a channel of transmission and processes, from the actions you do to start on a daily basis, to it being something like a lifestyle in a long run. So in that case, it means that there are things you must do. So I was going through a couple of podcasts and stories and maybe books I read, and I see what people write about their lives, and maybe the couple of things they have tried, and they suggest these are the best ways to live life. That is, let's say if you want to be happy, because truth is life is full of a lot, and you can't always be sad, because the more sad you are, the more things don't get out of let's say you cannot like get something you really get to make you happy, because you'll always be sad thinking about the things that are occupying the negative energy. So so in that case, I found out like almost like 1,000, but I think let me narrow down to like a few that I captured. So I started first with trying something you've never done before, and something that is productive. So in that case, I had a number, and some of them were: one, praying every day. There was affirmations. Number two, then there was tidying everywhere you are to make it clean. There was prayers. Then there was trying to record a video of you talking, to see if it's like if you can listen to yourself. You kind of like listen to other people, but the truth is maybe you do not listen to yourself. So I tried to record a couple of videos that I am listening to myself, and in that sense I saw some of them were not really something I wanted, and sometimes I was scared, I looked scared, sometimes I was happy, and sometimes it looked like faking. So when I like assessed all those videos, I realized that I really don't really know who I am, and I really don't know what I wanted. And in that case, so I started working on that. Yeah, so there are so many things. There are things like trying to work out, trying to dress nicely as possible to feel good when you walk around, trying to be clean and just smelling good, and talking to someone probably in the day, just trying to having an honest conversation with somebody, let's say a friend, maybe on the phone, maybe just a text, or maybe just a voice note, or maybe going to somebody or meeting somebody to talk. And that thing is very, very fulfilling. And sometimes that's how you like realize that having friends who are not really what you're looking for will make you understand what you really want, and you will start to realize those things in life that you have been like tolerating. You tolerate so much, so it reached a point you realize, so I was tolerating all this. So you start to do different. You start to think this friendship is not necessary, maybe this relationship is not necessary, or maybe this relative or family is not someone that I can be around, because you can feel it. You can know if someone, like, we do have power as humans. We do have strong feeling about things. We just feel. It's just that some people say it louder, like they say it, this is how I feel, some don't. So I was that kind of person who never said how I feel, and I was that person who never said uh, what it makes me feel, and I would just like let me not think about it. Maybe it's just in my mind. But with the time, I came to realize the moment you're not feeling peace with something, probably you're feeling it's sort of just not what you want. Maybe, in short, most things that we usually want are the things that we usually enjoy doing, and we really feel guilty about. And then, but because we really want to, like, maybe impress someone, or maybe keeping up with a certain lifestyle, or maybe not ready to change or not ready to overcome your fear, you keep doing them. So I was that person. So I kept doing those things, even though they made me feel like all my energy is drained. I feel stressed, but I'm like, I'll just do it because it's what I'm doing. I had like this kind of mentality, a certain identity. So you be sticking around to something thinking that it's productive, and in your mind, they say the better side is like 30%, and the worst side, or maybe the side that you feel like this will really kill you or maybe do whatever it is like 70%. But we could just be there, and it's so normal for a human being because that's how we were raised, or maybe how we saw people fight in through life, or maybe, yeah. So for me, I think I started to think out of the box, and I said, now I don't want to be that person who enjoys things that are not really good for them, like things like friends or whatever, parties. I don't know, not me, I just saying parties. So like things that so many people do and they look like cool people doing, or maybe they are the best people you ever knew, like this, this person, he's my friend, I don't know, he's this and that. So you realize that with the time, you really have to sit down and know the difference between what you want and what you need. So in the course of the whole thing, you find that you'll feel more happier about everything, and you'll just be satisfied. You'll be so content, and you'll just be having positive energy. And through all that, you realize that life is just as beautiful as it is, because like, what can you do? Nothing. So you just like there's nothing you can do, so you just enjoy, like, you just enjoy every moment, and it's so perfect because when you look at it, there are so many things in your life back then that people never want to admit that you really wished for, but they never happened. And when you got something else, you're like, wow, this is even better than something that I really wanted. So at that particular point, you realize that you get to just focus on the moment, because every moment matters. When I was a young kid, I used to see these quotes and whatever memes and videos when I was a teenager, and people will say life is just as beautiful as it is. Just enjoy and just be who you are, and just go for whatever you want. It was not like that literal to me. It was just like quotes, some posts, and some just something random, just reading, just entertaining. But I think when you grow, the more you grow, things change, as in. And the worst part is that most of us are like always stuck to that past mentality, and you want to live life like you were living before, and you want to live life like maybe you were teachers, or maybe your parents or people who you are with growing up told you. Not everyone who was telling you whatever they were telling you was true, and even if it was true, I think it was applying to their time. I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm just saying you have to assess what people tell you, because that's the most bravest thing you'll ever have to do for yourself. So once you assess them, you'll know what to do. Listen to everyone, because I personally believe everyone is a teacher. Because even if it's a young child, even if it's an old person, maybe a person you don't even like, some people just say things because they have the bravery to say them, because to say something is also a difficult thing to do. But the moment you say it, the problem comes out with how you will say it, I think. If it will be maybe aggressive, ignorant like, or maybe something a bit cheerful, or something just sort of a mutual understanding. You know, that people who can tell you something that is like very bad about you, and you know, but when they tell you, it will look like for sure that was so bad, because they have that convincing and engaging way to make you feel you sort of understand each other. So you will but some will just bash at you and you will feel nuts. So people are different, so you need to know who is your teacher and who is your teacher in what area, because I believe people have different powers and different intelligences. Some people can really teach you a lot about religion, others can teach you a lot about maybe business, others can teach you a lot about your relationships with people, others can teach you a lot about maybe love, others can teach you about something to do with the technology and anything of that sort. So it means that in that case, you have to know who to go to in what sense. And always, after listening to this person, you have to like think of, you have to think of something like a time to reflect. So personally, for me, I will reflect, let's say, in the middle of the night, or maybe early in the morning when I wake up, or maybe when I'm just sitting on the rooftop or somewhere. I'll just think about the things that somebody told me, and I will assess like, what do I need? Somebody told me this, but what do I need? So after doing that, it will come to me like to try and see which one can I do in this case, and I'll assess them all until I find which one do I do. So I think that thing has been helpful to me, because it has helped me to know what to choose, even when the other side, which is bad, feels more actually it feels more, do I say, I don't know, seductive, or maybe it feels more like appealing to you. You just feel like this is what you really want, but at the end of it all, you know that it's not it. Like when you listen to your deeper self, you'll realize it's a big deal, and you'll just choose the other one, which is not good for you. So the moment of just choosing the one which I'm not really exciting, because it's usually very tough. For example, in the case where, for my case, I had to choose going to the gym, I had to choose doing morning runs purposefully. I used to do them before when I was in campus, but I used not to really put in efforts. But I, looking back, I realized it was still helpful to me. So, and I had this one friend, her name was Zainab. She used to tell me, come, let's go for morning run, and just having that moment. And it was so different. After running, I used to feel like, okay, this feels great. It feels different. Yeah, so, and then with time, I realized those are the days that I was a very productive person. So when I sat down and looked at them, me doing some random morning runs, some days, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days a week, sometimes not consistently, but looking at it, those were the best days of my life. Like those were the days when I could choose to do something and do it. Those were the days when I purposefully sat down and started trying something new, and it could really work out. And those were the days that I was so ambitious, you know, the ambitious person. You're just on toes and all that. You know, there was a bit of laziness, but you knew very much that 90% of you was all going to whatever you wanted to do, and you do it purposefully. So when I looked back, I realized, what? Those were the days. So I started to incorporate exercises, looking from my own evident work from the past. So I started going sometimes to the gym, sometimes going for a run, sometimes just like in the middle of the day, just walking, not in sitting around, just walking around. After maybe doing some work, then I just walk around for a bit, just relax, maybe skip a rope, or maybe just go for a walk, just even if it's just around the area, then come back home. And with time, it started feeling different. The feeling was just very sort of different, because I feel like this whole schedule thing keeps you on toes. Like it keeps you on toes, and it gives you discipline that you really needed. And one thing also, I when I was first of all, when the first reason for me to start working out was not for my mental health or maybe feeling good about myself, the dopamine thing, or maybe just like the most things I've seen, like having good grip when you hold something, being stable, and just feeling strong. Those were not the things I wanted when I first started. Because the first thing I had realized in, I think in February, is it not February? Yeah, February. I realized I gained a lot of weight. So I I went to I went to a hospital and asked for a weighing machine. Nikalipia hapo Mbao. Then I took the way. Then I realized I had 86 kgs. That is something that I've never had before. I was always in the 60s. So I was so shocked, and everyone around me was just telling me, "Hey, umenona, 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 umenona." So I decided I think I'm going to do something about this thing, because when I listen to people's voices, I can know when they are being rude, or maybe they're just telling you should do something about it. So I used to listen to people. Some people tell you, as in mi sioni kama mwili yako ni mbaya, iko tu sawa. And others will tell you, hapana, umenona sana. So you can look at the whole situation, the two opposites, and you just think about it alone. And I decided now that I want to lose weight, I have to figure out what to do. So I started watching podcast online, those channels that people advise about how to do the natural things that can help you lose weight without maybe going for people who, nowadays there's so many things people can do. But so I thought about the whole thing, and I said, now I'll start drinking water. So first thing, actually, I started with drinking water. So I started drinking 1 liter a day. 1 liter a day turned to 2 liters a day. Then going forward, because right now I can actually even drink 4 liters or 5 liters a day. I even don't know how I do that. It's crazy. I was never that kind of person. So, and after doing the whole drinking water thing in 1 month or two, I felt different. Like my skin was feeling different. My whole body was feeling different. And my whole flexibility and just moving around was feeling different. But I never wanted to check how many kgs I was, because I was quite of like not really like sure about what I was doing. I was just doing an experiment on me. So in that sense, I had to incorporate something else. So I started walking a bit. I walked a bit. Then later on, I decided, I don't want to walk around like a crazy person. So I started to go to the gym. So that, I think when I also went there was that feeling of when you're an enthusiast of something. Let's say you do like something, or you want to do something, and you go to an environment or a place where those people who are like you are there, there's just a certain feeling. It's very different, and you get to look at people. I think I'm kind of a good observer, so I will look at people from a distance. I just try to understand them and stuff like that, like unconsciously. I don't know, it just comes to my mind. So, and then I will think, oh, this lady is too huge, but she's here and I'm not even this huge, and she's having a goal of, especially when you converse with them, and she's really really having this she's even wishing to even be like you first. Then she's so into this thing, and you realize what her body is quite bigger than yours, like, sorry, in a good way, but you realize how much she is so ambitious, and you realize that you are just here for her, like trying out. Sorry. That's when you realize that what. So this whole thing about being around people who have the same common interests is quite something that you should really work on. So I'm not saying that your friends are bad or people you are with are bad, but sometimes you have to find people who you have a conversation of something that you're trying to work on, or something you start doing, or something like you want to you identify yourself with. In that sense, maybe you want to feel like, me, I'm an artist, or maybe me, I'm a teacher, or maybe me, I'm a doctor, or maybe me, I'm a musician, or all those things. So you have to find people who are in that sense, because the moment you are in people who have never done whatever you're doing, they do not have a clue of the journey. They do not have a clue of whatever you're telling them, if it's making sense. And they do not have a clue if they can really see if you are really serious. That aspect also, they don't know that. You're the only person who knows that, so you'll be explaining to them a lot. But once you start to think different, I think you can look for people who are in the same thing you are enthusiastic about, and you can realize that it's better to like have those people, like just people who you talk about and tell them, okay, this is the whatever we're going through, and you'll just feel that kind of homeness, like some calm thing you feel inside. You feel like, okay, at least I'm around people who we are aiming at one thing. And it's just so exciting, because sometimes you get to see them, sometimes they disappear, and then you see each other again, and you're like, oh, hi, and it's just like they share about their experience so far again, and it's very exciting. So, and when you look at it, they'll tell you, oh, you've also lost something, and you've lost some weight, and the whole thing will just be so amazing. Okay, there's another thing also. I was quite and it was quite an issue to me, learning how to be positive, especially when around people who try to like maybe talk to you in a way you don't like, or something like that. Or maybe they just like say things to you, or maybe they don't really know you, so maybe they just judge you, or maybe they try to tell you something that probably you don't want to be told, which is a very normal thing for a human being. So you learn how to find a way to make it positive, and the only way out was to have that confidence, and the confidence to first of all listen, calm down, and think. And that's when you'll realize how important is it to just be in your own mind and very present, and just seeing life at a bigger angle. I think since I started practicing something that being real and just being in the moment, I started feeling different. I started to associate well with people. Even when I didn't like them, I will just keep quiet. I will just do whatever I can to see the positive side of them, and eventually I will never have a problem with them, because I sort of see them from a distance and I understand them. And then times will pass, and you realize that you can literally find this is someone that when you sit down, they can really teach you something that you didn't know. And you will see the whole changing perspective about life. I think that's the best thing that can happen to anyone, or let's say anyone who wants their life to feel different, because that means every day when you wake up, you'll just be having a very different feeling. Because waking up, personally, I'm that person who will even study a behavior of a makanga. I will just sit and see the things they do. Especially, I don't know, I think I like to see if people like their work or not. So, and and I just sit there and I see a makanga, the way they are doing things, and I just wonder, hey, huyu conductor enyewe anapenda kazi yake ama ako serious? Because those are the first, okay, that's when, before kasi sijaanza kwenda gym, that was before the first people I used to interact with to see their behavior. Because I think I like just sitting around and seeing what people are doing and just learning from them, and just like I said earlier, everyone is a teacher, so you have to see what they are really doing. And sometimes if you can converse, if you cannot, never talk, just listen from afar, and you will see so many positive things about people. So for me, I think when I was studying behaviors of makanga wa Kenya, I just I just saw how people were, and I thought, actually, there are people who really love whatever they are doing. And those are the people who can really do it until they reach a point where things are really working out for them in life. Because there's that true passion and true, let's say, true thing about life, about loving what you're doing. People just pretend, but the truth is there's that happiness that comes with choosing to do what you're doing and just feeling it. Because the moment you start to enjoy what you're doing on a daily basis, the happier you are, and the happier and the better you can even talk to people, and like when you are sad about everything, and the easier you can like make friends with people, from even people who can even like help you, like connect you to jobs, or maybe just like give you advice on other issues, or maybe just like educate you on things that you have no idea about, and you will just be so humble there and you will know a lot. But once you have that ego, it's quite hard. So for me, I think for the Makangas, let me share a picture and a true picture of one of the Makangas. One time, I don't even know him. I don't even remember his face, but I'm not sure I remember his face very clearly. But just observing him from a point of, let's see if this guy likes their job. This guy was literally doing a lot. He will literally talk to you nicely, just tell you good morning, how are you doing? It's like, okay. This is crazy. No one talks to me in the morning, good morning. It's just like how are you, malala aje? I'm like, this is kind of weird. But looking at it, he was telling that to everyone, and I was so confused. Then later on, there was this lady alikuwa na mtoto. So when this Makanga was the one outside, so si anasimama kwanza nje, so this lady akishuka hivi alimchukulia mtoto akashuka chini akampatia. Nikakuwa like, this guy is so dedicated, na alikuwa hapo hivyo anaongelesha mtu vizuri. You know, most times I usually meet Makanga wenye I don't know, maybe because I was also feeling my stress zangu ndio maana meet watu kama hao. But on that sense ninasema tu nimemeet Makanga pia wabaya. Mtu anakuongelesha mpaka unasikia kulia, unasikia wenze tu kulia yosa. But then I can also see kuna wale pia ni wazuri, they talk to you nicely, as in they just don't like issues ni nini, as in even they ask you how you slept and you just be okay, then they just like so calm and helping people. As in mtu akishuka kwa gari anashukishiwa mizigo yake peacefully, anaulizwa iko wapi. Mimi nikasema okay, kuna watu wanapenda kazi yao, and I think mtu kama huyo kama anafanya hiyo kazi haizi kukua unsuccessful, because anapenda kitu anafanya, because alikuwa very happy, anafanya tu vitu akiwa tu amesmile. That's the energy mimi ningetaka like wake up to, like niamke tu kama niko happy, nafanya tu kila kitu tu inaenda. So I started to try and practice all those things, and with the time I realized, oh, so this is so productive. Because you know, everything you do in life can either be productive or unproductive in that sense. Because the truth we know is there are things you can do and you literally know it's bad, but you just go ahead and do it because you know, this is my life, this is me. You have chosen like an identity to express who you are, and deep down you're not happy. You know, I'm not this person who is doing this career that I do not like. I'm not this person who is pretending to have a friend I totally think is not right for me, or maybe this partner, or maybe this anyone, colleague, or maybe boss. You know, the truth is there are two types of people. They are empaths and they are narcissists, and one person has to lie on one side, or in an actual sense. So which means if you're an empath and you keep meeting the narcs, obviously you will be suffering the consequences every now and then. So it's either you decide what you want to tolerate, because it's not a must that this person has to be, especially those people you can avoid. Most cases, families, we can learn how to like understand each other and live okay and things work out, which most cases happens because it's so natural, because you people have known each other for a long run. But anybody out there is always very hard until you get down to understand people. That's when you will get to know the quality people, because whether we like it or not, we have quality people. I don't want to know the other side because I don't even know the other side, because I don't belong there. So you have to find those people who make you feel different. And different is scary because every time you're around these people, you'll be feeling timid. Maybe you'll be feeling you need to explain something, or maybe you'll be feeling like, I wish I could have gone, or maybe you'll just feel some feeling that is not really normal. And I think that's the moment you challenge your brain, as it's a moment of I read this article that was saying, when you challenge your brain, when you want to change your brain growth, like to think different and mature as a person, just having those growth on all levels, which I'll show. And I'll show you all the like 8 growth I find out that someone has to have to be like fulfilled, or maybe feeling happier on a daily basis. So you find that most of these things are not even that hard, but we even feel like we should be doing them, but we keep doing the other things. Yeah. So I think some people can relate to this, because if you are so keen and an observer, you tend to notice so many things that people do not notice. And most times, for me, I used to keep it to myself and tell myself it's just in my mind. But I think with the time I thought, nope, it's not just in my mind. This thing is a real thing and it happens. And you need to listen to what is true and what is so good with you, good for you, and what you need, not what you want, because what you want is always good in the moment. Like, it's kind of an instant happiness. Just feel like, now I'm feeling good. But you realize that the other hard thing, let's say like you want to work out, you want to start drinking water, you want to start a business, maybe you want to start just living a different life, maybe changing the small little things around you, like waking up early, making your bed. Those are the most smallest things that people miss out, and the whole thing goes to become different. Because I'll share my stories. It's crazy. So if I was to rate them, maybe let me rate drinking water. I will rate it at 10/10. Stop eating calorie and sugar consuming, I will rate it at 7/10, because sometimes I kind of flash back. Okay, then trying to be as decent as you are in every moment, let's say I will rate it at, let's say, 9/10. And maybe let's see another one, let's say to rate my sleeping and waking up schedule, like let's say waking up early, or waking up early and sleeping early, I will rate it at 2, because now all the other areas I've been working on them, but there are still areas that I'm trying to like figure out what am I going to do in this case to really make sure that this thing is happening the way I want it to be, or like I in a productive way. Like, I know this is something when I do, I will get an end result that is good. Because I know it will be very scary, because I've been here and I'm still here, and I've been there in all those cases. There are so many areas. I think I've just shared a number of areas that I can rate myself. Then there's an area of understanding other people and conversing with them sometimes to get to know them. That's an aspect I cared about a little bit, but I thought about it more, and I thought it's good to know someone better, because it helps you to know what to tell them, how to approach them, how to relate to them with them, or how to just like know what to tell them. So in that particular sense, I thought about it, and I started feeling that I should do something different. So I started being better and different. And I think with that, this has been giving me a sense of just being happy, because around me I can just feel positive energy everywhere. I can just feel na msiniambie mimi ni watu wa energies, because energies are real. But in that case, mimi nasema tu ina change tu vile una feel generally. Juu people around you I think can really interfere with how you feel inside you, like your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts. It's a big thing, and it's so crazy that scientists have studied human beings can communicate through their brains. Like, we can just communicate through our brains and our body languages without having to say something, because that's how things used to be back then, before human beings had those people who read history and science before human beings had their ability to talk, because even talking was something that human beings learned how to do. Because the evolution people can say that the human nature has been let's say a build up process. Human beings have not been this way from the past, and when you look at the whole hierarchy of the growth, you can see every other step of a human being, like the Homo sapiens sapiens and sapiens, Homo sapiens and Homo sapiens sapiens. The Homo sapiens sapiens are kind of more digital, more better, and more everything than the other Homo sapiens. Because, let's say for the age gap, or the let's say the age when somebody was, most times most people used to pass away back then, when people were like our grandparents were alive, it used to be like 35, or let's say 35 to 40. That was the life expectancy of the human beings. But as time goes by, you realize that no, the life expectancy has rised up, and at even this point I can hear people who are dying at like the old age death. I'm saying the death one, I'm not talking about natural death. That's a very different topic, which is not even supposed to be, let's say, determined, because no one knows when they will die. So for those like cases when people get old, they die of old age, that's the one I'm talking about. So in that case, it means that right now, I even had somebody who died a few years ago, who was like 128 years old. You see, so that's something that human beings have actually increased, because they have found out the better ways to do things, like health, like treating diseases, treating everything. So that's something that has really improved the human nature. So when you look at it, you realize that that is something that is a natural process. Every human being, you're supposed to have a growth level. You cannot be the same person you used to be, like when you are younger, maybe when you are a teenager, or maybe when you're in high school, or maybe when you are where you are living in the village, or maybe your estate, or maybe any other place that you are living. So you find that you need to be a different person when you like try to reflect on the evolution of human beings, which, looking from a point where for me I can say I started believing with the people I know who are let's say practicing, working out, all those things, and whatever it is. When you look at those people, they look different, they do things different, they are more outgoing, they are more smarter, they are more intelligent. Those people who have some disciplined lifestyle are just people who pray every day on a daily basis. Cannot be the same. I'm not saying that you should not pray or you must pray. I'm just saying you have to find something that will let you be very calm and humble enough to approach the world and just appear to the world the way you are. People pretend so much. They just put a picture in the face. They just be walking around with a very different let's say clown, we call it, or maybe let's call it just wearing a mask of something that particularly well this is not who you are. And that's how you keep on going and agreeing with people who don't like what they're doing, people who don't really know what they want, people who don't really know if it's really for sure they needed what they have, or I don't know. You keep having those people because you feel like you understand each other, so you keep being around them. So the more things get, the more you think that you deserve each other. So you just, whether it's your friends, your toxic family members, because that's a topic that people avoid, but it happens. We are not saying that they're bad people. We're just saying find ways to associate with them. Just find ways to put them in place, and they will even understand that this is where you don't want and this is what you want. So I'm just saying, if you're not reaching to that particular point, then you will just keep doing what people want you to do. You'll be pleasing everyone. You'll just be like, I cannot do this because they will feel bad. I cannot say this because, even if you feel like that, I feel like there are particulars of ways you can make things look easier and better. And if there's a way you can talk to someone and they can see this thing is not really what she wants, or maybe this is what things should be done, or maybe this is the way we can get to an understand, because we cannot always have what we want. So I think for that case I'll make this episode, and then the next episode I will look at ways that have been scientifically proven that if a human being tries to have growth in those areas, they will have like a couple of other growth that they will not like expect. I will just give you a hint. We have the emotional growth, we have the financial growth, we have the mind, and so like the reading and all those things I'll discuss with you in the next episode. So for this episode I think we'll just leave it at that, so you can look at that and think about it, because I personally say I record these videos for me so that when I come back here I'll reflect and think about what I was doing at that particular point of my life, and maybe where the room I recorded in, what I was wearing and how I was looking, and now how I'm looking right now, because I'm particularly happy about my weight at least, and then I'm just like happy about the general self as I am. So at the point, so I'll be looking back and reflecting and seeing how I've grown to become a different person, because that's my goal, and that's the only thing I will say. And then for the other people, I will say I'll be so happy to know that there's somebody who learned from me, and somebody who saw my videos and they were like, so this is not something I was experiencing alone. People will relate and people will help each other to be different, because we cannot keep living that life. If we look at the history of man, even from the people we know, like our grandparents, we see that things have changed, and we really have to be those people who are moving with the way things are going. And I'm not saying you should not do the things you do, just find the best productive way to do them. I think that's how you can like learn on a daily basis, and you'll never be a stuck person. You know, those people who stick somewhere for a longer time, I think there are those people, we know them and we don't want to tell people, or we're scared. But it's just okay to like wake up one day and change your life in a different perspective, and just live differently, and just feel like you're living, like even if you die that moment, you're like, I was feeling good, you know, like you just like feeling like every day is just a happy day and it's just a good day. Even you're not scared of anything and you're just living life the way it is. When you realize all that is very important, you just sit down and just enjoy life on a very, very different level. Thank you for watching my video. See you next time.